Chair now recognizes Mr. Dunn for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Many of the questions today deal with personal harms, but there are long-term economic and security harms to our country I'd like us to keep in mind as well. I represent Florida's 2nd Congressional District, which is proud to host a large presence of the U.S. military, including civilian support companies. One of these is Applied Research Associates, which is doing great work with our military in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning. I agree with our nation's top national security experts on the critical importance of the United States maintaining its competitive edge in AI, and I share the concern of former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, who warned just a few weeks ago of the grave consequences should we lose that edge to China. Leader Rogers led a bipartisan bill enacted last year, the American Compete Act, to lay out clear AI strategy. We all recognize that China is not a good place to do business, evidenced by the fact that all of your respective main products and services are banned there. It's clear that the influence of the Chinese Communist Party permeates the entire corporate structure in China. Xi Jinping himself stated his goal of integrating the party's leadership into all aspects of corporate governance. Let's be clear with each other. It's impossible to do business in China without either directly or indirectly aiding the Chinese Communist Party. It's also important to state for the record that each of your business models involve collecting data from individuals who use your product and then using that data for some other purpose. Mr. Pichai, I'm deeply concerned with Google's pursuit of and investment in artificial intelligence research in China, widely reported over the last few years. First and foremost, can you assure Americans that their personal data, regardless of how you think you have de-identified it, data you collect when they use Google and which is central to your algorithms, is not used in your artificial intelligence collaboration with the Chinese government?
Congressman, I want to correct any misperceptions here. We do not have an AI research center in China now. We had a limited presence working on open source projects, primarily on open source projects and around K through 12 education, a handful of employees. We don't have that anymore. Compared to our peers, we don't offer our core services in China, products like search, YouTube, Gmail, etc.
So yeah, I'm going to have to reclaim my time because it's limited, but I want your team to follow up with me because I'm honestly somewhat skeptical that I think you had 3 centers there in China, and I want to know more about what they're doing and also what material they're using. And I want to be clear, I'm not just suggesting that simply doing business in a country means that you endorse all their policies. As a former businessman myself, I know the politics all too often get in the way of what we're trying to do. However, Google's own list of artificial intelligence principles states that it will not collaborate on technologies to gather or use information for surveillance, violating internationally accepted norms, or contravenes widely accepted principles of international law and human rights. But we know that the Chinese Communist Party is using artificial intelligence technology to spread misinformation and suppress the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong, as well as using that technology in its genocidal crimes against the Uyghurs, including murdering them for their organ harvesting. Once again, can you be sure that none of the work you're doing in collaboration with Chinese government is not aiding them in this ability?
Congressman, happy to follow up and clarify the limited work on AI we undertake. It's primarily around open source projects, and very happy to engage and very specifically follow up on what we do.
Well, I think that's great. I know I'm running out of time here, but I ask that we continue this dialogue, and I think Google would be very well served by promoting greater transparency in all of its actions regarding artificial intelligence in China. Your customers have a right to know about this. In 2018, Diane Greene, former CEO of Google Cloud, noted, "We believe the uses of our cloud and artificial intelligence will prove to be overwhelmingly positive for the world, but we also recognize we cannot control all downstream uses of our technology." Well, a good place to start would be to end this dangerous artificial intelligence research relationship with China. So with that, Mr. Pichai, thank you. Thank you all the members